Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom is in the books, and it was a night where several dreams were fulfilled. But many fans were left with a question: why did Mercedes Moné lose the IWGP Women's Championship in such a short time? To me, the answer to the question lies in who Mercedes faced: Mayu Iwatani. Let me ask you a different question. Is there an answer to the chaotic whirlwind of events we call life? For many people, the answer has already been written. For many others, you can just come up with it. Sometimes you encounter it when you least expect it. As a teenager, Mayu Iwatani had become isolated from the outside world after being involved in an incident that became public knowledge in her hometown. She spent her days basically doing nothing, unable to find any direction or purpose in her life. That is, until she found professional wrestling. Initially thinking it was dumb, Iwatani witnessed pro wrestling with her own eyes after her brother dragged her to a Dragon Gate show, and immediately changed her mind about it. Fortunately, it was around that time when Stardom founder Fuka Kakimoto was recruiting members for the yet-to-be-launched wrestling promotion. This was before Bushiroad, before Samurai TV, before Korakuen Hall. However, this calling was enough for Iwatani to jump out of her house, leave her town in a rush against her family's will, and take the train to Tokyo. Not having a place to stay or money to eat, Roshi Ogawa had a hunch about her and let her stay in his house while she figured out life. So Mayu went ahead and enrolled in Stardom, and the rest is history. Or is it? When people look at Mayu Iwatani now, they often compare her to a female Hiroshi Tanahashi. Mayu herself fancies that comparison, and it does work in a current day context, but the race to the icon for Mayu Iwatani wasn't as crystal clear. You could say it wasn't even guaranteed. According to herself, she was a slacker. Even if she was already a trainee, she had doubts about whether this was for her or not. Some days she would just not attend training. She wasn't the most technically gifted, much less the most powerful, and she was treated accordingly. Mayu had a losing streak that lasted longer than anyone else's in Stardom's original trainees class. She was in a tag team with Arisa Hoshiki, who was very much expected to eventually become the icon of the company, with Iwatani as a second to her. Even if Hoshiki ended up leaving, Mayu was still either opening shows or dragging others down throughout the first few years of the promotion. When Kairi Hojo was just a rookie who couldn't win a match, Mayu Iwatani was the only one who lost to her. However, unlike many others at the time, Iwatani stayed. I mean, where else could she have gone? Her stock was at ground level, she had no higher education, and going back home was not an option. So rather than talent, skill, or a sort of divine gift, Mayu Iwatani moved forward because she just kept going at it. She was told to go wrestle, and she did. Could she be better? Absolutely, but she's serviceable, and that seems to be enough for her. As the decade reached its middle point, Iwatani would become a respectable competitor in Stardom, and even capture the white belt, albeit for a very short and hollow amount of time. A generational shift in the promotion allowed her to be taken more seriously as she honed her craft and aligned herself with the other two protagonists of this new generation, Io Shirai and Kairi Hojo. As we have talked about in previous videos, they were the ones holding most of Stardom together when it was at the brink of PR destruction, and they became unstoppable as a unit. But if you look at the three of them, Mayu kinda sticks out. You have Io Shirai, who's the ace, her aesthetic is well defined, her confidence goes through the roof, and any claim that she was the best in the world at the time could be backed up in the ring. You have Kairi Hojo, who can sing, smile, and be an absolute murderer between the ropes. She has a background in yacht racing, but she translated that into being a pirate princess, which sounds much cooler. And then you have Mayu Iwatani, not the icon yet, but the sky blue hyper technician. Iwatani may have been many fans' favorite daughter of Stardom, but it was Io and Kairi the ones who got the most attention. There was a defined pecking order when it came to success, and Iwatani lost more times than the other two throughout 2016. Io Shirai got so obsessed with performing at a top level that she got rid of Mayu to form Queen's Quest, just because Mayu was inferior in her eyes. In an evil twist of fate, not too long after Mayu finally got to hold both of Stardom's top titles at the same time by finally defeating Shirai, she got injured and had to stop competing. And here's the interesting part when talking about Mayu's personality and goals. When you come back from injury after such a high point in your career, you probably want to take back what you never lost. However, Mayu's mission after coming back in 2018 was not to claim either of her championships again just yet. It was to defend Stardom from Oedo Tai and Queen's Quest, because she felt that they were all too self-absorbed to represent what the promotion is about. She created Stars to gather a group of wrestlers who would fight honorably and with justice. But boy was it rough. This is another example of Mayu wanting to do something, but not really putting her 100% to accomplish that and just letting things flow instead. Stars was either too bloated, directionless, or had constant infighting for its first couple of years. You could even say that it wasn't until 2021 where the faction started having some cohesion, and that only happened after Starlight Kid vented her frustrations with Mayu for that and left her for Oedo Tai. I don't think she's lazy or doesn't care about anything. Her heart is in the right place, she knows what she has to do, and she probably knows that she can do better than she usually does. But maybe she doesn't trust herself enough for that. The match where she won the red belt for a second time, she confessed to being nervous and described herself as a mess. But her goal was clear, she wanted to protect and lead Stardom as its red champion. And she went on to have one of the most critically acclaimed reigns in the company when it needed her the most throughout the pandemic. Months after her title reign ended, Stardom was threatened by the return of Nanae Takahashi and Yoshiko, representing Seedling, and it was Mayu who stepped up and defeated Yoshiko at the company's 10th anniversary show, in one of the most exciting matches on the card actually. I can't help but notice a pattern in which Mayu can only awaken her full potential when she has to defend Stardom through difficult times or foreign inventions. Otherwise, she's trying to get easy milestones like her Grand Slam victory that preceded an unpopular and uneventful SWA title reign, or outright showing reluctance to wrestle in challenging environments such as a steel cage. It seems that when the honor of her company isn't at stake, she tends to remain on autopilot mode. And for a good while, people felt that she was just running through the motions. Something needed to take Mayu back to the top, because she wasn't going to do that on her own. Enter the IWGP Women's Championship. Announced in 2022, this new title belt would symbolize the entry of women's professional wrestling into the International Wrestling Grand Prix. In other words, the legacy of Antonio Inoki would be bestowed upon whoever held the belt. A tournament was decided featuring multiple competitors. Would it all belong to Momo Watanabe, or maybe Utami Hayashishita, perhaps Mayu Iwatani, or Ava White? This was a brand new opportunity not just for whoever got to hold the belt, but also for the company as well. While the IWGP Women's title was certainly not a very popular inclusion, it's a symbol of the growth that Stardom had in the last 12 years, from its days as an independent project with no guaranteed future, to basically the sister promotion to NJPW. And there was only one person who witnessed it all with her very own eyes, Mayu Iwatani. To get to the finals of the tournament, Mayu defeated Momo and Utami, who are two very dangerous opponents, if they feel like it. She even vacated her SWA title for this, confident that her destiny was the new belt. Meanwhile, across from Mayu stood Kairi, whose path to the finals only featured one match against Alpha Female, who isn't as active nowadays as the aforementioned. Do you remember my first ever video on this channel? I pointed out that Mayu didn't seem enthusiastic about Kairi returning, and that turned out to be the case up until their tag team match against Tam and Nagi. However, it's not like Mayu was all friendly with Kairi afterwards, and it's here when she gets to properly vent her frustrations towards her. Over 5 years prior, Kairi Hojo left for America, and Io Shirai would follow soon after. But Mayu stayed, and she saw Stardom grow further and farther than it could ever be imagined back then. Unless she got sick or injured, Iwatani never missed one day. Even if Kagetsu was cooler, even if Momo was more popular, even if Julia, Utami and Shuri caught international attention, even if Kairi brought some people into Stardom, Mayu was the one constant all along. Kairi admitted that she doesn't know how that feels, but that she has also been carrying over a lot of baggage from the last 5 years. They both agree that something changed between them, something that, according to Mayu, turned into a void. Kairi left for personal growth, fame, and exposure. Mayu stayed home because Stardom is all she knows and loves, so it's not a mystery what's at stake here. Such bitter feelings got Mayu to pull out her famous Sami mode in her instantly classic match against the Pirate Princess. There was no better way to start a championship lineage, but it was Kairi, the one who picked up the victory. And for a moment it seemed like nothing had changed in the last 12 years since these two faced each other for the first time. There's mutual respect, maybe they understand each other a little bit better, but the history records would say that the start of the IWGP Women's title lineage does not feature Mayu Iwatani, who couldn't overcome Kairi even after all these years. And that's a little heartbreaking, but Mayu goes on. It's not her first big loss, and it won't be her last. She still has the tag league to look forward to, right? I personally consider Mayu the most accomplished underachiever in wrestling. Mayu is someone who, if she truly wanted, could take over the world. We know that, we know what she's capable of, and she knows that as well. Yet, the first time Iwatani was seen after losing to Kairi, she was wearing a t-shirt that said Mayu Iwatani is useless. When you start a wrestling career, you are told that you have to stand out, to look like a star, to present yourself in a way that guarantees money and bookings and victories. Mayu Iwatani constantly makes fun of herself on purpose. She has acted like a sneaky opportunist more often than not, and when she gets the chance to get some rightful payback on the people who took advantage of her, she doesn't care that much. And yet, this is the highest paid member in the Stardom roster, the Icon. An antithesis to what every ace in professional wrestling should be. She breaks trophies by accident, fights recklessly, and eats allergenics. Her gear is a disorganized, asymmetric combination of fabrics most of the time. You never know if she'll actually step up or phone it in. Even her characterization in the official Stardom manga starts with her being tired and uninterested. If Kairi wasn't enough for her to awaken to her true potential, it would have to be someone who knows how to push her buttons. Someone who would pose a threat to everything she loves. Someone who would be her exact opposite. Mercedes Moné is one of the most popular yet controversial people in North American wrestling. Her sole existence drives human beings in a way that I cannot explain without a degree in psychology. Whether it's fans hyping her up with unadulterated passion or detractors loathing every single thing she does with endless disgust. I don't know what it is that compels people to react to her in such a strong way, but it has definitely worked for her. Mercedes Moné, the character, is the embodiment of every single one of the rumors that surround the performer. The idealization of Mercedes Varnado that every hater of her swears it exists in real life. She's famous, rich, and perpetually relevant in her field. She feels bulletproof to whatever happens to her, so she can do whatever pops in her mind and she'll still have all her precious money to take showers with. She is drunk with power because she knows her worth and is desperate to prove it to everyone alive, lover or hater. She knows how to get under people's skins, whether it's by comparing herself to John Cena and The Rock, mispronouncing Asumi's name, or stating that you're not important if you don't have a blue check mark on Twitter. If someone ever dares to wrong her, she will get revenge on them sooner than later. Her aesthetics are beautifully executed with themed gears made by crafty seamsters. Her entire career is about having ambition beyond the opportunities she was given, and every single time that she exceeded expectations, it will only fuel her thought that she is the best in the world. She wouldn't ever release merchandise that depicted her in a negative light. She wouldn't ever make herself less than any other wrestler. She wouldn't ever give less than 100%. She made it in the big company despite multiple adversities, but is married to no promotion now. She has made all the dollars she could off of America for the time being, and now she wants to squeeze all the yen she can out of Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we already know the best way to get money as a pro wrestler is being a champion, the IWGP Women's Champion. After dethroning Kairi and defending against Hazuki and Asumi, Mayu Iwatani came out to express that come April 23rd, she was going to be the new champion. April 23rd was no ordinary date, it was going to be All-Star Grand Queendom, the biggest show Stardom had ever produced, the culmination of a 12-year-long journey for the promotion to arrive at Yokohama Arena. Everyone had to give their 200% to be on this show and then 100 more if they performed here. And the smiling Mercedes face turned into an expression of concern before slapping her way out of the ring, for she knew that Iwatani, on her best day, would be the biggest threat that she could face at the time. Both Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton acknowledged what was at stake here. For Mercedes Moné, it's all about the greens, but for Mayu Iwatani, this is everything she lived for. The thing that got her out of her house and into the rest of her life. Charlton said it best: it will be love versus money on April 23rd. There's so many real-life aspects that enrich this story. The wrestling fandom and humanity at large has been so focused on money. Drawing power, ratings, ticket sales, numbers, graphics, stats, and yes, that's important, but what about the other side? This isn't just Mercedes Moné betting on herself and banking on the rewards, it's also Mayu Iwatani achieving her ultimate validation. From the rookie that was pretty much the punching bag of the promotion, to the hero who will step up against the invader who calls herself the Princess of Japan. From the social recluse who had no purpose in her life, to the professional wrestler who would break her neck to defend what she considers home. From Ponkotsu to Icon. This is not kayfabe, we've seen this happen in the last 12 years with our own eyes. This is the answer to the journey of Mayu Iwatani. Mayu sucks, Mayu sucks. There are many reasons why people wrestle in stardom. Utami Hayashishita is the daughter of a celebrity who made headlines by making her debut into High Expectations, for which she worked tirelessly to live up to. Julia has orchestrated her way to the top of the company for years, doing whatever it took to get what she wanted and get back at the world that wronged her. Tam Nakano wanted to tell a story about the bonds that you form with people on the way to accomplish your dreams. Shuri wanted to prove that her over a decade-long career was worth it by winning the red belt. Mayu Iwatani just had nothing else to do with her life. Mayu sucks, Mayu sucks. When you are a professional wrestler, you are expected to reach the pinnacle of your career. That means that at one point you may graduate from your company and go to a bigger place or greener pastures. Yusuke Aikawa moved on, Io Shirai moved on, Kairi Hojo moved on, Yuka Sakazaki will move on from TJPW. Mayu Iwatani will stay in stardom, purposefully hindering her chances of larger worldwide recognition. Mayu sucks, Mayu sucks. When an underdog loses, some people rationalize the result by saying, makes sense chasing. Iwatani had chased long enough, not for a belt, but for a reason to live. In the face of what's best for business, Mayu Iwatani stands as an outlier, a nobody. Mayu sucks, Mayu sucks. There are many reasons why people wrestle in stardom. The moment Mayu witnessed professional wrestling, she sealed her fate. Entrusting her future to the world's Ring of Wonder, Mayu clung to a dim hope. Yet, Mayu sucks, yes she does. Beyond love and passion remains money and business. It matters not who you are, the moneymaker awaits you. When your life loses its meaning, the fact of death can be kind of comforting. That's just how it was with Mayu for years. There is a post that she made in 2019, which has since been deleted, but thankfully archived. She opened up about her mental health, and it might not be my place to fully talk about it in detail, but I will show an excerpt in which she defines who she is. The real Mayu Iwatani is immature and can't be a functional human being, but when I do professional wrestling, I'm truly alive and happy. If I hadn't become a professional wrestler, I don't think I'd have been in this world by now. The meaning of my life is to be seen by others as Mayu Iwatani. The star power of Mercedes brought a lot of people to watch this show, both live and online. It was logically the most attended event that the company ever held. Chances are that this was their first exposure to Mayu Iwatani. If she ever had to give it her all, if her existence in this world was worth it, if she ever had to be the icon for once, it had to be this night. People can talk about what's best for business all day, but sometimes one meaningful moment is more important than all the revenue in the world. This was the right decision. the right result. Mercedes can move on, have her strong title, go from Japan to America and back, lose or win, and she'll remain untouched. Mayu Iwatani already has a legendary career in her own right, but this story and this match needed a happy ending for her. Did she need the title? No, but she needed to defeat Mercedes on this show, because it's not about the title itself, it's about what you are telling the world with her victory. The runaway teenager who once had next to nothing, overcoming a WrestleMania main eventer, and then smashing her own head against the belt by accident. There's no one better to defeat Mercedes Moné. Mayu has been doing this for so long and has already talked about retirement. Yet, I don't worry about Stardom without Mayu as much as I worry about Mayu without Stardom. But hopefully it'll still be a while before we have to think about that. In a world where people seek personal glory, Mayu Iwatani uses her achievements to protect what she loves the most. She knew what it was like to live without living. She didn't care if she died, and that's where she found pro wrestling and Stardom as the meaning of her life. She doesn't have to be the best wrestler in the world to find such meaning. For Mayu, all she needed is something simple, like a locker room to take care of. I have no doubts that Mayu Iwatani will keep on wrestling no matter what, so she can protect her ring. And we all have to thank Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling for that. I'm Sapster, until next time.